The sound of rolling suitcases echoed through Terminal 3 like a drumbeat of judgment. "Move faster!" "Alex!" Richard Carter barked, his voice sharp enough to slice through the crowd. "You're holding us up again." The morning sun filtered through the vast glass windows of San Francisco International Airport, illuminating the tension between father and son with unforgiving clarity. Alex Carter bit his tongue and stepped aside as his stepbrother Ethan strutted past, designer shoes clicking on polished marble like a countdown to humiliation. Ethan tossed his perfectly styled hair back and smirked. Maybe he's nervous. He glanced at Alex with feigned concern. It's probably his first time seeing a plane up close. Richard chuckled, not even attempting to hide his disdain. He can't even afford economy. "Ethan, don't expect him to know how airports work." Their laughter followed Alex like a shadow he couldn't outrun. Heat burned through his face, but he remained silent, adjusting the strap of his worn backpack while watching planes gleam under the California sun. They were flying first class to New York for a major tech industry celebration, an event Alex was technically invited to, but never truly wanted at. Ethan lifted his boarding pass with a theatrical flourish. "First class boarding. Dad, we'll have champagne before takeoff." Alex noticed a flicker of hesitation cross Ethan's eyes before his stepbrother resumed his performance. "Enjoy that," Alex said quietly, his voice steady despite the storm inside. Ethan rolled his eyes dramatically. "Don't be bitter just because some of us make better life choices." That comment stung because 2 years ago, Alex had made a choice. Walking away from Carter Enterprises after his father had married a woman only 5 years older than Alex himself and handed Ethan everything Alex had built. "Remember that Horizon Project presentation?" Richard lowered his voice to a stage whisper. "The board made the right call. We couldn't have the company associated with..." His eyes flicked dismissively over Alex's entire being. "Your lifestyle choices." The terminal speakers announced their flight. Richard gathered his belongings with practiced efficiency. "Do us a favor." He straightened his Italian silk tie. "Try not to embarrass the family name more than you already have. People talk." Alex met his father's gaze directly. "People always talk." "Dad, it's what they say later that matters." Before Richard could reply, a tall security officer approached, his uniform crisp and his posture commanding. "Mr. Carter." Alex turned, his heart still pounding from the confrontation. The officer straightened. "Your private jet is ready for boarding. Sir, we can begin pre-flight procedures whenever you're ready." The words sliced through the airport noise like thunder. Richard froze mid-step. Ethan's mouth fell open. "Champagne dreams temporarily forgotten." "Private jet," Ethan whispered, his voice suddenly small. The officer gave a professional nod. "Yes, sir. Mr. Carter owns it." Alex allowed himself one moment of satisfaction as he met his father's stunned expression. "You were right about one thing. Dad, I can't afford economy." He paused, then added softly, "It's too small for me now." If you enjoyed this story of resilience and redemption, tap the subscribe button or more inspiring content from Heart Stories. Comment below with a time when you had to rise above someone's low expectations of you. Sometimes the greatest motivation comes from those who believe in you the least. The door of the luxury jet closed behind Alex with a soft pneumatic hiss, sealing out the chaos of the terminal. The scent of polished leather and fresh coffee replaced the cheap cologne and judgment he'd just walked away from. Marcus, the security officer, now smiled with quiet respect. "Welcome aboard, Mr. Carter." Alex nodded his thanks, sinking into a cream-colored seat as the engines hummed to life beneath the cabin floor. Through the window, San Francisco stretched below like a chapter he'd already finished reading. His phone buzzed insistently, Dad flashing across the screen. Alex let it ring twice before answering, his voice deliberately calm. "Yes," Richard's voice crackled through the speaker, sharp as ever despite the undercurrent of confusion. "What kind of game are you playing, Alex?" "No game," Alex replied, running his fingers along the smooth armrest. "I just stopped measuring success by your standards." The cabin door opened, revealing James Chen, Alex's partner of 3 years. His warm smile provided immediate sanctuary from Richard's cold words. James raised an eyebrow at the phone, understanding instantly who was calling. Alex gestured for him to sit. "I asked you to be practical," Richard snapped through the speaker. "Instead, you ran off chasing ridiculous dreams that built Carter Innovations." Alex responded, watching James unpack his laptop. The company now valued at $500 million. There was a weighted silence. Then his father's voice dropped lower. "You could have stayed. Alex, we could have found a way to make it work." Alex closed his eyes, remembering that night 2 years ago. The boardroom, the Horizon Project presentation, the looks of discomfort as Richard had dismissed Alex's revolutionary AI platform with a single sentence. "We can't have our company associated with your kind of people." The line went dead. James reached across to squeeze Alex's hand. "Your father." Alex nodded, the tension in his shoulders finally releasing. "Still trying to rewrite history." James smiled sympathetically. "Hard to rewrite what's already been published." The jet accelerated down the runway as Alex stared out the window, his mind traveling back to the months after leaving Carter Enterprises. The tiny studio apartment in Castro District, the cold calls and rejected loan applications, the venture capitalists who wouldn't meet his eyes, until Sarah Chen, James's aunt and former investment director, had seen potential where others saw only risk. 2 years of 18-hour days, coding until his vision blurred, sleeping on office couches, moving from the studio to their first real office in Mission District, building a team who believed not just in the technology, but in Alex's vision of creating AI tools that would help minority-owned small businesses access funding and growth opportunities that traditional systems denied them. The irony wasn't lost on Alex that the same AI platform his father had rejected for fear of association with LGBT imagery had become the cornerstone of a company now worth more than Carter Enterprises itself. Carter Innovations hadn't just survived, it had revolutionized how underrepresented entrepreneurs accessed capital. As the jet climbed through clouds, James reviewed their presentation for the upcoming tech summit. "You know your father and Ethan will be there, right?" His voice held concern rather than worry. Alex nodded, watching the landscape shrink below. "That's exactly why we need to make this announcement perfect. The Horizon Fund needs to be more than just successful. It needs to be undeniable. The true measure of success isn't proving others wrong, but creating opportunities for those who face the same obstacles you once did." As Alex watched the clouds drift past the window, he understood that revenge was never his true motivation. What drove him forward wasn't hatred for those who rejected him, but love for the community that embraced him when he had nothing but an idea and the courage to believe in himself. The private jet touched down on a secluded airstrip near Silicon Valley, where a sleek black SUV waited on the tarmac. Alex and James emerged into the California sunshine, the familiar skyline of San Francisco visible in the distance. Home, but different now. Every building, every street represented not rejection, but possibility. Marcus handled their luggage with practiced efficiency. "Your hotel reservation is confirmed, Mr. Carter. Security protocols have been implemented for the tech summit as requested." Inside the vehicle, Alex reviewed the schedule on his tablet while James made final calls to their team. Their suite at the St. Regis offered panoramic views of the city that had first broken, then remade him. Alex stood at the window, momentarily lost in reflection until his phone chimed with Sarah Chen's incoming call. "The latest valuation just came in," Sarah announced without preamble, her voice crackling with barely contained excitement. $500 million, Alex. The investors are practically begging to be part of the next funding round. Alex smiled, remembering how this same woman had written him his first check when every bank had shown him the door. "They laughed at us then." Sarah's voice softened. "They're not laughing now. The Horizon Fund announcement will be the perfect culmination of everything we've built. $50 million dedicated to LGBT entrepreneurs and other underrepresented founders. Your father will have no choice but to acknowledge what you've accomplished." Alex set the phone down after their conversation, Turning to find James watching him with quiet pride. "Ready to face the ghosts?" James asked gently. Alex nodded, straightening his shoulders. "Not just face them, transcend them." A notification lit up Alex's screen, a financial news alert about Carter Enterprises facing significant losses after the failed Horizon project launch under Ethan's leadership. The same project built on the bones of Alex's original vision, stripped of its innovative core and repackaged as something safer, more conventional, just as his father had wanted. The hotel room phone rang. The Carter Innovations team had arrived for their final strategy session. When Alex opened the door, he was greeted by the diverse faces that formed the heart of his company. People of different backgrounds, ethnicities, gender identities, all united by brilliance and the shared experience of being underestimated. Lisa, their chief technology officer, immediately launched into updates on their presentation visuals. Miguel from marketing reviewed media talking points. Alex listened intently, asking questions rather than issuing command, a leadership style deliberately opposite to Richard's authoritarian approach. This wasn't just a team, it was a family chosen rather than inherited. As evening fell over San Francisco, they finalized every detail for tomorrow's summit. The announcement of the Horizon Fund, named with deliberate irony after the project his father had rejected, would transform how minority entrepreneurs accessed capital. The technology platform would provide AI-driven guidance through funding applications, business plan development, and market analysis, tools typically available only to privileged founders with connections. "We're not just building software," Alex told his team as they prepared to leave. "We're building bridges where others have placed barriers." The team departed energized, leaving Alex and James to prepare for tomorrow's confrontation with the past. Sometimes the most powerful statement isn't what you say to those who doubted you, but what you build despite them. The true revolution wasn't in proving Richard wrong, but in creating something so undeniably right that it changed the very landscape that had once excluded people like them. Crystal chandeliers cast fractured light across the grand ballroom of the San Francisco Convention Center. Tech industry elites circulated through the space, their conversations creating a symphony of ambition and privilege. Alex adjusted his custom-tailored jacket as he and James observed from a private alcove. The Carter Innovations logo dominated the main stage, a sleek blue phoenix rising from geometric shapes, a deliberate symbol of rebirth. Across the room, Richard Carter held court with a circle of investors, his commanding presence unchanged despite the new streaks of gray in his hair. Beside him stood Ethan, laughing too loudly at something, a habit Alex recognized as nervousness rather than genuine mirth. Neither had noticed Alex yet. The summit director approached with an excited smile. "Mr. Carter, we're ready for you." Alex squeezed James's hand before following her toward the stage. The house lights dimmed as the announcer's voice filled the hall. "Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our keynote speaker and this year's principal sponsor, the CEO of Carter Innovations, Alex Carter." Applause rippled through the audience as Alex took the stage. The spotlight illuminated his face just as Richard glanced toward the podium. The recognition hit like lightning. His father froze mid-handshake, champagne glass suspended in air. Ethan's practiced smile evaporated into open shock. "Good evening, everyone." Alex's voice carried clearly through the sound system. 2 years ago, I was told I would never belong in rooms like this." His eyes found his father's. "Tonight, my company sponsors it." The audience chuckled appreciatively, unaware of the personal history beneath the statement. Alex continued with measured confidence, describing how Carter Innovations had grown from a single laptop in a Castro district apartment to a $500 million enterprise revolutionizing access to capital. People often ask what motivates success. For me, it was simple. Exclusion is a powerful teacher. The words landed with precision rather than malice. I built this company not to prove others wrong, but to ensure nobody else faces the barriers I encountered. Alex unveiled the platform's latest evolution, showcasing how their AI systems had already helped over 3,000 minority-owned businesses secure funding. Then came the announcement that silenced the room. Today, Carter Innovations is proud to launch the Horizon Fund, $50 million dedicated exclusively to LGBT entrepreneurs and founders from underrepresented communities. The name is significant to me personally. Alex allowed himself one glance toward his father. It represents the horizon we can all reach when artificial barriers are removed from our path. The applause was thunderous. Industry leaders rose to their feet. Photographers captured the moment as Alex accepted the Innovator of the Year award, the same recognition his father had claimed 5 consecutive years during Carter Enterprises' peak. The weight of the crystal trophy in Alex's hands represented more than achievement. It represented vindication. As Alex navigated through congratulations afterward, he noticed Ethan hovering at the edges of the crowd, conflict evident in his expression. Their eyes met briefly across the room, something unspoken passing between them before a journalist pulled Alex's attention away. "What do you say to those who dismissed your vision initially?" the reporter asked. Recorder extended. Alex considered his response carefully, aware that his words would reach Richard. "I say thank you. Sometimes rejection is simply redirection to something better. Without those closed doors, I might never have built my own doorway." The reporter nodded appreciatively, unaware of how personal the answer truly was. The summit continued around them, but the center of gravity had shifted. Where Richard Carter had once commanded attention effortlessly, it was now his son who drew the influential crowds. Not through intimidation or family legacy, but through genuine innovation and vision. True influence isn't inherited or demanded. It's earned through creating value that transforms lives beyond your own. The most powerful response to exclusion isn't anger, but excellence that creates spaces where others can belong. The private VIP lounge stood empty except for 3 men whose shared DNA belied their different paths. Alex had agreed to this meeting not for closure, but for freedom. Richard Carter stood by the window, his reflection fractured in the glass like his family legacy. Ethan occupied the space between father and brother, physically manifesting his emotional position. "This is quite the spectacle you've created," Richard began, his tone attempting authority, though his posture betrayed uncertainty. "The Horizon Fund is an interesting name choice." Alex remained silent, allowing his father to fill the uncomfortable quiet. "Your company has grown impressively," Richard continued, professional admiration battling personal pride. "Perhaps we underestimated certain aspects of your proposal." Alex smiled faintly. "That's the closest thing to an apology I've ever heard from you, Dad." Ethan shifted uncomfortably, then surprised them both by speaking directly. "I'm sorry, Alex." His voice cracked with unexpected emotion. "What we did, what I helped do to you, was unforgivable." Richard's expression hardened. "Business decisions aren't about forgiveness, Ethan. They're about practicality." Alex studied his father, seeing clearly the fear beneath the armor. Fear of change, fear of being wrong, perhaps even fear of his own son's truth reflecting something within himself. "I didn't come for apologies," Alex said quietly. "I came to inform you that Carter Innovations acquired 25% of Carter Enterprises last week." The color drained from Richard's face. "The board approved it yesterday. Not a hostile takeover, a partnership proposal. Sometimes bridges serve better than barriers." The door opened as James entered, followed by Sarah Chen. Richard recognized the influential investor immediately, his expression shifting from shock to grudging respect. Sarah had mentored Richard early in his career before he had dismissed her more progressive approaches. "You built quite a family." "Alex," Richard's words carried multiple meanings. Alex nodded, looking between James and Sarah with genuine warmth. "Family isn't always what we're born into. Sometimes it's what we build when the original structure fails us." Ethan stepped forward suddenly, his composure cracking. "I need to tell you something." His voice trembled as he glanced nervously at Richard. "The real reason I pushed so hard against your projects wasn't just following Dad's lead. I was terrified of seeing you live authentically because..." His eyes filled with tears. "I've been hiding too, for years, afraid of exactly what happened to you." The confession hung in the air between them. Richard stared at his second son with dawning comprehension. Ethan continued, words rushing out after years of containment. Watching you build something on your own terms while I've been living a lie, it showed me what courage actually looks like. Alex crossed the space between them, placing a hand on Ethan's shoulder. It's never too late to live your own truth. Richard remained silent, decades of certainties crumbling around him. Alex turned to his father. I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. The horizon belongs to those brave enough to chase it. The closing ceremony of the summit found Alex delivering final remarks about technology's power to connect rather than divide. Afterward, as he and James boarded the private jet back home, Alex watched San Francisco's lights glimmer below like stars fallen to earth, each one representing a dream, a possibility, a life being lived authentically. What truly matters isn't flying higher than those who grounded you. It's using your altitude to help others find their wings. The greatest success comes not from surpassing others, but from transforming the landscape so everyone has the opportunity to soar. What would you do if someone who once rejected you suddenly needed your help? Would you offer a bridge or remember the barrier they built? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Heart Stories for more tales of courage, redemption, and finding family in unexpected places. Sometimes our greatest strength isn't in standing alone, but in reaching back to help others stand with us.